So first of all, I don't know if you're aware, but it's NAIDOC week. So it's quite fitting that we have an acknowledgement. We celebrate First Nations people during NAIDOC week, and we recognise and celebrate that our First Nations people have occupied and cared for this continent for over 65,000 years. So it's we're very privileged. We'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we work and play, and to show our respects to the elders past and present and other Aboriginal people here today. May our sincere participation contribute to the collective healing of this land and all beings on it, beginning in each of the places that connect us this evening. So tonight's webinar and the Let's Go Swap and Go program have been put together by our waste education team. My colleague Alicia Lloyd and myself started developing the Swap Good program last year, and we're currently working with businesses to move them through action plans to reduce single-use plastic. We would like tonight to present an overview of Council's support and expression of interest that's open to try and promote the Swap and Go cup systems. We also have Rosemary Roche, and she'll be joining us tonight from Council. And Rosemary has 8 years experience as Environmental Health Officer. So thanks very much, Rosemary, for joining us tonight. Okay, so we're going to kick off the presentations tonight, and then we will introduce the panel of Swap and Go providers, of which we have 4 Swap and Goes, and they can give you some information about their unique systems. Each system is slightly different, and we love them all. So it's really fitting that they're able to present all the differences and highlight the great things about their business and how it could be adapted to your business. Hopefully by the end of the night, you will have a clear choice and you will be ready to submit your expression of interest. Okay, so we know that cafes have been through a really tough year. So we started off the year, and actually end of last year, with the really bad bushfires. And then after that, of course, COVID hit early on in the year. So businesses have really had to, apart from the struggles, they've had to innovate and really think about new ways of doing things. And it's driven everyone sort of to have a think about how they can be better custodians and do things differently. So far in our conversations with what Alicia and I have been doing, we've had conversations with 150 businesses. So we've had conversations with over 2,000 businesses on the Northern Beaches, but we've had 150 businesses registered with Swap for Good. So we're moving those guys through action plans. And just to give you an idea, the businesses that we're working with, we are supporting them to reduce over 1,050 cubic metres of single-use plastic. And if you're not sure how much that is exactly, it's about the size of 25 humpback whales. So we're asking businesses to tackle one single-use plastic item at a time. And as you can see, over 3 million coffee cups are on our radar. And we think that the Swap and Go coffee cup system is really going to help reduce the single-use coffee cups.
Cool. So obviously it's good to hear about what your other cafes are doing on the beaches. So just last year we were talking to businesses about ways that they were saving money and reducing single-use plastic disposable coffee cups. And one thing we were hearing was that a mug library was really easy to implement. And one local cafe at Freshwater, the Saltbush Cafe, they were saving $7,000 a year in disposable cups by having their mug library there. And he said that one of the best things about the mug library was that if he could get a customer at the front of the line to pick up a mug, then all the other customers would see it happening and follow suit, which is really a great example of how behavior change actually works. On the Northern Beaches, we have 6 cafes with the mug libraries. And one of those is the Beaches Market as well. So they support the cafes at the stall holders at their market to have the mug library there. And they brought out this great idea called No Single-Use Fridays, which is once a month at the markets. And one of the stall holders only operates using the mug library. So just by doing this, they increased their mug library usage from 30 mugs to 280 mugs. And this is then saving an additional 3,000 disposable cups per year from landfill. So we'd love to hear about what your cafes are doing. So if you want to pop in the chat right now, just what cafe you're from, and if you know anything about like any stats about your reusables at your cafe, maybe you know how much a rough percentage is of either cups or dollars that you're spending on cups. That is something that we could really work with you on and help you reduce that or give you a bit of a baseline. So yeah, we just love stories. So tell us at the Beaches Council what you're doing, and we'll get back to you to work on a case study of your business. So yeah, swap and go systems are a really similar concept to the mug libraries, and we have 30 cafes already on the beaches using swap cup systems, and we're trying to basically double that number. So the benefit of these systems is that there is a clean, reusable cup ready to go in case someone does forget to bring their own cup. And one local Manly cafe actually reported that 50% of his customers were beautiful, which means they are bringing their own cups, of course. And so that was actually saving him $11,700 per year in disposable coffee cups and lids. So there's some really significant savings to be had. And in a nutshell, I hope that this case studies have helped to show that we can all make a difference. Every cup really does make a difference. It makes a difference for our beaches, for our bushland. It also saves us money and it reduces waste. So it really is a win-win-win situation.
So, sorry. Okay. So council really wanted to throw their support behind the swap and goes. Businesses need options. So, and we thought, especially in light of COVID, this is a really good opportunity to give cafes and support another option that might really work for them. And we found that there were 4 main players in the Sydney market. So we've got Green Caffeine, Husky, RETURNR and Clay Cups. And we love them for all of their differences. The way that we're supporting is that council has funded a startup bank of cups for each of the 4. So there's and it will be offered to a limited amount of cafes. And essentially what it is, we've bought banks of cups, round about 20 to 25 cups per cafe. So they will be provided to the cafes that are successful in their EOI, and then the cafe will need to match those cups for the customers, so creating that circular system. So it's a startup program. So the idea is that we help the cafe sort of start up. There's lots of support from us and mostly from the provider, but we're all doing it together. And so we help the cafe get up and running, and we monitor, make sure that the cafes have got everything needed. And then beyond the 3 months where, where we've got a major focus on you guys, then you can pick it up and go independently of us from there. So it is envisaged that it's an ongoing system beyond the 3 months. Your chosen provider will be the main point of contact, but we're here to hold your hand. Between Alicia and I, we're in the office 5 days a week, so we're only a phone call away. And we will hear a lot more from all of the providers later on in the webinar, and they can give really great detail about what they do and their offering. We've got some really tidy fact sheets that really breaks down the 4 different systems. So all these fact sheets are on our website. If you go into the EOI page, they're hyperlinked, and we will actually send them out after the webinar. So you've got those ones as well. Do your sums, work out how much you can save, and also how many cups you'll save from landfill. And with all of these systems, I think you'll find that within weeks, you'll find a return on investment. So financially, you'll be ahead within a very short period of time. So it's definitely something that you should take advantage of. So there are a couple of criterias. There are 3 simple ones on the left-hand side there, that you're not already using a swap and go, obviously Northern Beaches, LGA, and that you're making an effort to reduce your single-use plastics. So whether you're right at the beginning of that or whether you're halfway through, doesn't really matter as long as you're on your way and you're moving forward. And Alicia and I, separate to this program, here to help you move on other single-use plastic items as well. There's also a desirable criteria. You may not be able to tick every box, but we still want you to put in everything that you've got. If you've got strong media presence, that's great. If it's not one of your stronger areas, that's fine. Just let us know what you've got. So every bit of information will help. The closing date for the EOI will be the 15th of December, so you've still got a bit of time. The submissions are rolling in, so probably best that you do your research tonight or fairly soon and submit your EOI. We do have these cup banks available for a limited amount of cafes, so probably wouldn't wait too much longer to submit that EOI. The cups will be distributed early next year, late January, early February, we envisage. We'll start out by grabbing a baseline to see where you've started so we can track trends and make sure that you've got everything you need to keep moving in the right direction.
So one thing that you might be worried about is that you get your swap cups, but you find it really difficult to help your customers to make the switch. So already with the Swap for Good program, we actually have a number of resources that will help you with this, including action plans, which can be tailored to your cafe. And some of these action plan steps include staff training or putting up posters and signage. So it's all just about the communication of how it works and making it really streamlined. We also have little posters that can help remind people about why we're doing this. So our countertop poster there has the ocean in the background, and I really find that that is a great way to just reframe any barriers that you have with your customers, is just to remind them, you know, we're doing this for the ocean or whatever place it is that you really love in nature. Gently remind them about that, and you're sure to get them back on site again. And if you don't get them the first time round, that's okay as well, because they're probably coming back there regularly and they're going to see all your other customers starting to do it. So that's how behavior change works. Some people you get straight away, other people a bit later on. But you've got to keep nudging just gently. And we have a behavior change guide that will go through all of that as well. So and a marketing guide. So that is another way of getting the message out there, perhaps through your newsletters or your social media posts. So in a nutshell, with the EOI and the Swap for Good resources, hopefully you will agree that council are really here to support you on your transition away from single-use plastics. So up next, we're going to hear from Rosemary, and that's our council's environmental health officer. But we're just going to quickly have a little look at this video first, which outlines the 3 safe methods to safely pour coffee in a reusable coffee cup since COVID. So one of these methods is the swap and go system. So I'll point that out once it starts. So this cafe is a French Basket in DY. And as you can see, they put the reusable cup in a sanitizing solution, and then they rinse it with boiling water. So the video has 33,000 views on Facebook, and it's available on YouTube. So we invite you to keep sharing this with your customers. If they're not unsure about whether your methods are COVID safe, all of this has been approved by New South Wales Health and the Food Authority. So this is a great one to share in your newsletter or social media. The next method here is Phil from Ruby Lane in Manly, and he's got the swap and go system there with a contactless drop-off point. So as you can see, they also have the option of keeping the lid, which might make customers feel a bit more safe if you want to offer that to them. And the other thing they do is that they wash their hands after they stack the dishwasher. And then the other popular method is also the contactless pour, which is a little bit difficult to do in a streamlined way for most busy takeaway cafes. So that's why it was great when it was a bit quiet during the COVID lockdown. But if you have a lot of customers coming with their cups, then you probably need to get a swap and go system going. So we'll hand over to you now, Rosemary.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I guess one of the concerns from a business owner's point of view, I would imagine, is making sure that you can do the swap and go system safely, reducing any transmission. And we've been hearing so much about COVID-19, and I guess that's the main issue and our main concern at the moment. Just briefly, I guess, how it gets spread through small droplets from the nose and mouth. And it goes on to objects and surfaces that people touch, and then they go on to touch other objects and surfaces. And I guess that's how it spreads from person to person. Ideally, you will likely have hand sanitizer upon entry into your cafe, and it's important that customers use this upon entering. We recommend having clear in-your-face signage upon entering, and that there's sanitizer there. Please use before entering our cafe, because you're trying to protect yourself and your staff just as much as customers. All cafes must have a COVID safety plan, and within the plan there's a requirement to reduce the number of surfaces touched by customers wherever possible. And I guess that's why the swap and go system is ideal in this situation. It's not certain how long the virus that causes COVID-19 survives on surfaces, but it seems to behave like other coronaviruses, and studies suggest that, including preliminary information on COVID-19 virus, it may persist for a few hours or up to several days. And you can reduce your risk, and the swap and go system puts the business in control of surface transmission. So it can definitely be done through safe handling of swap and go cups. So leaving a basket or a box for customers to leave their used cups in the one location, clear signage. The basket there on the right, ideally an enclosed type basket for any droplets, any sort of liquid doesn't escape. So that would reduce any extra cleaning that you have to do. It reduces direct contact with the cups. The customers walk in, leave the cups there, and then a staff member comes along and picks it up and sanitizes it. Avoid touching cups directly until washing in the sink or placing in the dishwasher. So when the basket gets full, then there's a designated staff member who comes along and then puts it into the dishwasher or cleans it through the double bowl sink. Always washing hands after placing cups in the dishwasher or handling the cups in general. That's probably the number one main thing at the moment being told to everyone, is more and more hand washing. And ensure when washing hands, sorry, we'll just go back a small bit there, Alicia, that's all right. And then just ensure when washing hands to flick the tap on and off with your elbow or paper towel. Avoid touching the tap again after cleaning your hands. It's all about reducing the risk as best that you can. You can control what utensils staff come in contact with by using the swap and go. Managing reusable cups, it's like a little bit different. You're not in control as much as the swap and go system, but it can be done. And health officers want to work with businesses. And if you come up with an idea or a way of reducing transmission, you can always just contact council. We can come out and have a look. Because at the moment, I guess coronavirus especially, health officials don't have 100% answers as to how it works and how it operates. So it's all about reducing transmission steps, one step at a time, and it definitely can be done. So in your COVID safety plan, there can be a designated staff member ensuring that sanitizer and signs are at the entrance, barista asking if cups and hands have been sanitized prior to entry and things like that. So yeah, it can be done. Next. Yeah, so the importance of hand washing cannot be underestimated. I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times. It's so important after coughing, sneezing, cleaning, changing. So if the barista moves from making coffee to changing the bin bags, going to the bathroom, changing their job, assisting customers, it's really important that that liquid soap, warm water is available to create that lather on your hands. Heaps of suds, that's what lifts off the dirt off your hands and dry them thoroughly then as well. And all of this helps to clear off any sort of pathogens that may be on your hands. And it's amazing just how easily things can be picked up. But like I said, if you knock it at every possible step, it can be done easily. So one of the main things in a food business is sanitizing. It can't be underestimated, and it really needs to be understood. Why we do it, what it is, and what's the best way to do it. So sanitizing reduces the number of organisms on a surface to a safe level that you can then put food onto. So it doesn't completely 100% kill and eliminate, but it reduces. And it's one of those steps that you do after cleaning the surface. So cleaning away that dirt and grime first, and then applying your sanitizer. Usually heat is a form of sanitizer to a certain temperature or chemicals. And they can both be used together also. And so bacteria, viruses can be present on coffee cups and other utensils. Therefore, effective sanitizing is definitely crucial after cleaning. And just in the next slide, we talk about the different methods of sanitizing. So for example, with heat, commercial dishwasher, that gets up to above 70 to 80 degrees. It gives a quick result, especially those commercial dishwashers. They're very quick, very fast, and get the temperature very high. So that rinse cycle is at least 80 degrees, and it's hot enough at a long enough temperature to remove any harmful bacteria. The other option is a double bowl sink. So not every cafe, given space, for example, or even design, can have a commercial dishwasher. So that double bowl sink is really important for one half of the sink for the washing, to remove what we visibly can see. And the second half of the sink is to fill your sink with water and sanitizer, and then leave it in that solution for the perfect contact time. Now, each sanitizing solution is different. You have to read the instructions on the back. They're all different. There are so many out there. Contact time can be anywhere from 1 minute to 10 minutes. And you really just need to think, do I have 10 minutes to leave things soaking, or am I busy and I need to get things moving quickly? So you really need to make sure that you get the proper chemical sanitizer if you can't use the heat option. You can use unscented bleach. It does need to be diluted correctly, and I'm happy to send out that information to everyone separately, just because it needs to be written down, because I don't want to take for anybody to take the measurements incorrectly, because it can be quite strong. But yes, like sanitizing is just one of those steps that when done correctly, it can be very, very effective. When you're loading the dishwasher, when you pick up your basket, your box of the cups, you bring it over to the dishwasher, you load it, and then you go and you wash your hands. Make sure loading the dishwasher that you put on the hottest cycle. Domestic dishwashers are fine in certain circumstances, except that usually you have to put it on the longest cycle, and it's not very practical in a cafe. clean your dishwasher regularly of lime scale and scum build up, because this can affect the efficiency of it, and therefore things may not come out as clean or as sanitized as what they were intended to. Sanitizer in a container or a bucket for cups, you have to ensure that it is diluted correctly and that cups are in it for the required contact time. So it's really important that you just read the instructions on the back. And also, some of them require a solution to be made every couple of hours, every 12 hours, especially if it's starting to look greasy, it would need to be changed more regularly. So somebody needs to be designated to ensure that it is okay and it's diluted correctly and contact time is perfect. Providing signage for customers, make them feel like it's an easy, streamlined process, and that you have everything under control from the point of entering. They know where to go. That all staff members can explain the process clearly. It makes them feel a lot safer. Signage and, as I said, alcohol hand rub upon entering always makes that customer feel safer. And making access to the bucket basket easy for customers to use as well. Yeah, so look, any questions on it, feel free to ask. Definitely council are supportive of this swap and go method. It can be done. It just takes training, and it takes staff members to be really aware and conscious of what they're doing. All right.
Thank you, Rosemary. That was great.
No worries.
Yeah, I think it's basically having that information there is really empowering for businesses, and there would be someone in the business that is a food handler, but maybe not all the staff are aware. So it's important as part of the staff training of the Swap and Go system that you go through these things, so they can then also tell the customer if they're the ones that are handing over the reusable cup as well. So yeah, in a nutshell, we can be safe with reusable items, and by following the Food Standards Code and COVID safety plans, Swap and Go systems are a great way forward.
Yep.
Sorry, I might have just gone too far there. Yep. Go back. Okay. So yeah, now it's time to hand over to the panel, and Rosemary will be sticking around. So if you have any questions about safety, feel free to pop them in the chat for any of you that just arrived as well to the webinar tonight. And we're also going to have some time for questions later on as well. So we're really lucky tonight to have 3 of the Swap and Go providers with us. We've got Damien from Green Caffeine, Michael from Husky, Katie from RETURNR, and Stephen sends his apologies. He's looking after his son this evening, but he has a wonderful video to share with us. So we'll see that soon. So our first speaker is Damien Clark. And Damien is the driving force behind the growth and uptake of Green Caffeine, specialising in social engagement, product and tech design, and sales. He previously worked in real estate and particularly enjoyed working the crowd as an auctioneer. And during the break from the workforce, Damien actually developed a passion for coffee, technology, but most importantly, nature. And he became aware of the damage that single-use plastics was having on nature, and spent many volunteer hours cleaning the beach and promoting things like Take 3 for the Sea. Damien also holds a Bachelor of Education and currently sits on the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation Working Group and the Global Reusables Network, and is a sitting committee member for the Man Walk Australia. So welcome, Damien.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm just checking that everyone can see and hear me. First of all, before I wind up, yes, thumbs up, fantastic. That was almost like my mum had written that bio. So thank you to whoever did that, and thank you for sticking with it, Alicia. It's very kind of you. Look, thank you much for having us tonight to the Golden Beaches Council. It's got some resources there that we've all seen, and we're honoured and very to be working with you guys. So congratulations on that, first of all. Green Caffeine. Green Caffeine is a really simple swap and go reusable system. We launched Green Caffeine in Kiama, our hometown, where I'm presenting from this evening, on the New South Wales South Coast. We've now grown Green Caffeine to have cafes in every state and territory except for Tasmania, and we're really, really proud of the uptake we've managed to achieve. There's some staggering statistics. I just saw the 3 million single-use coffee cups for the Beaches Council. I mean, that's a lot of waste. And when you think of it as a consumer, but more importantly as a cafe, you're looking at an average of $70 worth of single-use packaging that your consumers, your takeaways, your regular customers are using each year in single-use coffee cups. And that's a staggering amount when you actually sit back and look at it. And we're proud to say we can actually now help you eliminate that cost, but also eliminate the waste environmental damage that goes with it as well. So, Alicia, if you could flick the button on the next page for me, please. And this is a little video about how Green Caffeine works. It's on YouTube. It takes about 51 seconds.
Disposable cups are hurting our environment. 1 billion disposable cups are consumed in Australia every year, with the majority ending up in landfill, and the problem is growing. But Green Caffeine has a solution. Buy a coffee at a participating cafe and scan the code using the Green Caffeine app. Enjoy your coffee in one of our reusable green cups. Then return the used cup to any participating cafe when buying your next coffee, or just return the cup when you're finished. Grab a fresh, clean green cup the next time you order. Use our Scan, Swap and Go cup system as many times as you like, so you can enjoy your coffee and have a positive effect on the environment. Keep the planet clean. Join Green Caffeine. Visit www.greencaffeine.com.au.
So how does it work? Thanks to the support, Green Caffeine is a free reusable cup system. You can see that we'll be rolling these cups out from the Northern Beaches Council. We've got the logo proudly embedded on them. That cup was actually photographed at Avalon, where we've got some really cool things happening with a great little community group there. So we've supplied, Green Caffeine supplies the cafes with a float of cups. The cups are washed and ready to service. We provide you guys with technology, and when I say technology, it literally is this. This is the magic of Green Caffeine. It's just a simple scan code that goes to your point of sale. And then customers download the Green Caffeine app, which they can do in the App Store and Google Play. Walk in your cafe, they scan that code every time, and that records the impacts that we're having, not just at your cafe, but for the consumer, the cafe, and for the council. And that can really clear data and metrics on how we can actually work and show the impacts we're having. But more importantly, it actually gives you guys an incentive to continue your drive with your push and eliminating single use. And it incentivizes your customers to look at the impacts they're having, not just at your cafe, but across the whole network every time they choose to reuse a Green Caffeine cup. So you can see on the right there, it really is simple. For a customer, it is just like a library book. It is actually a free system for the customers if they use it correctly. They have 30 days to return the cup to any participating Green Caffeine cafe to avoid any late fees, with $12.99 late fee. So far, we're running at just under 3% of all our cups in the network that we had to account for as either being lost or eaten by dogs. That seems to be a bit of a popular one at the moment. People are letting their dogs grab a hold of it. But yeah, look, we've got all these metrics and all these data, and I'd be happy to talk in a bit more detail with everybody if you're interested about how it all works. So Alicia, we can get the next slide, please. So we proudly partner with you as a cafe. On our cafe finder on the left-hand side of the screen there, this is Girdlers at DY, who have been using our system for a while now. We put your Facebook links, your Instagram links, your website links, your opening hours, and description on the cafe itself. And we're really proud to let people sort of search your cafe through the Green app. And that's all free of charge as a matter of a partnership and work with you in the elimination of single use. Green Caffeine cups are proudly made here in Australia. We're two Australian blokes that started a mission to eliminate single-use plastics, and one of our ethos was to make sure that we could actually do everything locally based. If it wasn't in the Illawarra in Wales, that we did it here in Australia. So our cups are actually made with 75% food-grade recycled plastics, and we'll probably get some questions on that later. I'm happy to answer that. They're made in Brisbane, which is fantastic, and I'd love to be in Brisbane. And every Green Caffeine cup, as we've talked about, is cleaned and sterilised, ready for reuse for the next customer. One of the things that we found really quickly with the impact of COVID, and Alicia, if you could flick that next screen for me, I'd appreciate that. With COVID kicking off, obviously around sort of February year, it sort of threw everyone into a little bit of disarray, but really quick to come to the market and see a lot of continue to grow and use Green Caffeine through the whole of COVID in Melbourne, in Queensland, all over the place. So we're really proud of our green card, as we call it, and excuse the words. There's plenty of things you can do with the green theme. And that's a COVID safe plan, which is available on our website, and it's available on that little link there. And the team at the Northern Beaches Council have that resource as well. And that's really just our COVID safe plan. It's clear signage for your cafe, as we saw in the Swap for Good program. It's just some little tips and hints on how you guys can make the contagion, chance of contagion through the COVID virus when these cups return in your cafe. And it's just really, really simple and common sense plan. So definitely look forward to answering any questions, and I'm very, very grateful for the time of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Damien. That was great. Yeah, we've got a few questions in the chat, and I also had a question myself just about the app. You mentioned that you need to download the app, and that might have been missed in the video as well when we didn't have the sound, so sorry about that. But yeah, the customers do get an app to scan, and everyone's used to QR codes now, so it's actually quite simple. But I'm just wondering if you have any examples of cafes or communities where they've really helped the customers to get ready for that step before they actually come to the cafe, when they're actually really, craving that caffeine fix. Is there something that they can do to, through an EDM or something like that you've seen done really well to get the customers ready for the app?
Yeah. That's a great question, because when we first started this, we had no idea what it would look like. Whereas now, thousands of users and hundreds of cafes, we've actually worked out that it's really, really simple. The more active you are on your social media, talking to people that follow your cafe about what you're trying to achieve, the reasons you're trying to achieve it, and how you do that, the quicker you can get the cafe. At standing point, Green Caffeine takes no less than 30 seconds to sign up. So people all the time we see will actually sign up, join the program, and make their first cup out. So it's really not a barrier to entry for people to grab their first cup. And then also supply all of our cafes with a Green Caffeine toolkit. And in that toolkit is resources for your social media. So you can actually proudly tell everybody what you're doing, how you're doing, but more importantly, how you can get involved. Instagram, Facebook, and Instagram stories. I find that the uptake's really, really quick once we have the cafes talking about that on a regular basis.
Awesome, sounds good. We did also have another attendee write a question in about their cafe, which apparently doesn't have very great mobile reception and not very good Wi-Fi either. So I'm just wondering if that has been an issue that you've managed to work with any other cafes on that, and how you've overcome it, or just any suggestions on that.
Yeah, look, that's a real question. From Lisa at Guston Beach, I've had some communications with Lisa over the years, probably
She's
4 months ago. So,
right now,
Lisa. It is. Look, it's one of those situations. You may be better off using RETURNR or pay cups in that event. I've expressed that to Lisa. The only thing we can do is if you've got a really good Wi-Fi and customers are using that Wi-Fi on a regular basis, and you can actually tell the Wi-Fi signal as they get the system, they can actually still use the system through a Wi-Fi network. So you don't have to have the cellular data, but I'm hopeful on the Northern Beaches we've got some pretty good coverage.
Cool, great. And there was one other question in the chat. What does Green Caffeine do to reach out to their customers? Do you just rely on the coffee shops to do that, or is that something that you guys do as well? Like, will you be shouting out when a new cafe comes on board, for example?
Yeah, really good question. We're very social media, and we know that most of the people that use Green Caffeine are following us as well. So we always notify and share a lot of the work that our cafes are doing. We've got a policy: if you tag Green Caffeine in something that's using our product, we'll share it to our network. We also notify people through email as well. One of the great things about a tech-based system is we actually tell who's who and where they're located. And one of the good things about Cafe Finder is we regularly get people each week that made active purchasing decisions around who supports Caffeine and finding them through our app. So that's a really good question. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Damien. So stick around, and we'll pop you in a breakout room later if there's any other questions for Damien. And Sasha's just going to introduce our next speaker.
Yeah. So thanks, Damien. That's awesome. Really good overview of how it all works. So next up, we've got Michael from Husky. And just to give you a bit of a rundown, Michael has been in the business for over 10 years. And the Husky Swap is currently available in 22 countries, including Australia, UK, and USA. So Michael's got extensive knowledge in cafe service and operations, and came to know Husky as a customer in the first instance. So he was able to combine his love of coffee and experience and joined Husky in 2018. Back then, it was a relatively new concept, and it has gone gangbusters in the last couple of years. So I think Husky's very lucky to have Michael. And he was happy to do his part in getting rid of reducing single-use plastic cups, as well as improving the workflow and sanitation of reusables as well. So one thing to note is that Husky's head office is in Sydney, so would be a great thing for the Northern Beaches people to have personal contact with. And it's Sydney, Michael is Sydney based. So yeah, over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Asha. Can you guys all see my screen okay?
Not yet, but
No. Sasha, are you able to still present?
yeah, we can still share here if that's all right. Yep.
Yeah, great.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just let me know when you want to go to the next one.
Yeah, sure. Firstly, thanks to you both for inviting me. This has been great so far, and it's great to have that engagement with the community. And you guys are obviously very passionate about what you do. And I feel like you've presented the kind of information around the SWAT programs really, really well and really balanced. So yeah, thank you for that. So ready for the first slide? Great. So we're a Sydney-based company. We actually started as a Kickstarter back in 2017, and we actually reached our stretch goal within 48 hours. That's how many backers and supporters we had back then, which unlocked our natural colour. So we have the natural and the charcoal, and a universal lid. So we actually launched the product as an at-home cup, reusable cup, to also be used in the cafes. But because of the backing that we had, we were able to release that lid straight away, which paved the way for Husky Cup, really. And as a company, our mission, simply put, is just to reduce waste in the coffee industry, both at the farm and closer to home. And you can go to the next slide there, Sure. So we got our goals, and our goals really are through the pillars of sustainability. I'm not sure if I can see. Oh, there they are. Is to reduce, reuse, recycle. So these are obviously terms that we're all familiar with, but how we do it uniquely at Husky is we want to reduce the number of takeaway cups that are ending up in landfill. We want to reuse the coffee husk generated from coffee production, and we want to recycle Husky cups with Husky Swap's closed loop system. Ready for the next slide, please? So Husky Cup itself has three uses. It can be an at-home cup with universal saucer. It's a cafe alternative to ceramics and glass, and it's a reusable cup with a universal lid. All features coffee husk as a raw material. So coffee husk is actually a waste product from the milling stage of coffee production. It usually just sits on a coffee farm. It can be a fire risk, a pest issue. It's often not just used. So before we even got going, we are repurposing that waste into our cups. Husky Cup itself is durable. It's dishwasher friendly. It's BPA free and available in a 6 ounce, 8 ounce and 12 ounce. And it was actually awarded the Good Design Award, Best in Class, back in 2017 when we first launched the product. So that was great. And then we can move to our Husky Swap slide, please, Alicia. Right, see if we can stay on it, that's fine, yeah. So Husky Swap, what we're here to learn about. So it works very similar to cup exchanges. All you need to do is a cafe holds Husky cups, which are washed, sanitized on top of their espresso machine. A customer will come to the till with a Husky cup or buy one from the cafe. That cup gets put aside to be sanitized, and their beverage gets made in a freshly cleaned Husky cup. Our model is actually a purchase model. So we wholesale cups to cafes, and cafes yourselves, you retail them to customers. And it's the revenue from cup sales which really help offset the operational costs of washing cups, i.e. the service you're providing. And beyond savings on disposables, Husky Swap is not only environmentally sustainable, but it's also a sustainable business practice as well, because of that revenue that's coming in from the cups. The benefits, we have an app, but it isn't needed for a straight swap. So that makes a much more frictionless ordering. You don't need to get your phone out. You already need to do that to PayPal or Apple Pay or your loyalty card system or your order ahead. So your phone's not actually needed to do a straight swap. There are 3 interchangeable sizes. So you can have an espresso in the morning in a 6-ounce cup. And if you fancy a large tea in the afternoon, that's totally fine. You're not limited. There's no obligation to return the cup because you've bought one. It just means that you always have access to a Husky cup and you can swap it as many times as you like. One day, all week, every day if you like, or just a few times a week. It's totally up to you. And it's scalable and self-sufficient, as in the more people that swap, the more cups that you've sold, which you can further invest in swap cups and you can grow your customer base. Next slide, please, Alicia. Great. So the app, so I'll touch on that briefly. It currently features as just the locations map, so you can kind of fire up the app, see where your local swap site is and load up all the details about them, where they are, how to get there, any information that the cafe would like. And the new features which we're launching in a couple of weeks is the ability to borrow and store all through a QR code. So the store function simply means that if you've got a Husky cup with you and you're going out for dinner, or you're going down to the beach and you don't want to carry a Husky cup around with you, all you do is just scan the code of the cafe and you can store that cup with them and pick it up at your next convenience. And the borrow function is best for when someone forgets their Husky cup or wants to try Husky Swap without buying a cup. So essentially, $21 gets held on your card and you've got 5 days to return it. So like I said, you can use a Husky cup if you've forgotten one, or you can try it out before you even need to buy one. And that's a couple of features which is launching in a couple of weeks. Next slide, please, Lisa. So our traction so far in Northern Beaches. So we have 13 Husky Swap sites and over 50 Husky Cup stockists. So we've got really good brand awareness. People know what the cup is. It's quite iconic. Just with all those people that already have cups, you have the ability for them to access Husky Swap at your cafe. There's still plenty of more that don't have the cup who will be interested in purchasing it from you. Next slide, please, Alicia. Husky Loop. So this is a massively developing part of our business, and essentially it's how we deliver on the closed loop element of Husky Swap. So essentially how it works is if you get as a cafe, if you get any cups which are swapped in, which are chipped or damaged or cracked, you put those aside, we collect them from you and we replace those cups. So essentially your float cups are protected by what we call float protection. All these cups which come back to Husky, we repurpose them into new products. Some of the things that we're doing is a POS stand, and we've actually started to test a 3-ounce Husky cup made from repurposed end-of-life Husky cups in Australia. So that's manufactured here, a new product, all out of end-of-life broken and chipped cups. That's a really important step for us, which is to really capture all these cups and just continue use of them because the materiality is very suited to it. And Alicia, I believe that's my last slide.
I think maybe I have one more. Hang on. And there was a little note there about a 3-ounce. I don't know if you're going to say that.
Oh, that's the testing we're doing at the moment with end-of-life Husky cups that we're repurposing into a new material. Yeah. And that's just the kind of little lasting slide to kind of encapsulate how the system works from a Husky cup, Husky Swap, Husky Loop, and the Husky Tech element is actually the materiality of the cup. But yeah, that's Husky and Husky Swap.
Thanks, Michael. That's great. We just had a question from Adriano. Are there any integrations with POS systems or ordering system like HeyU?
Yeah, totally. So we work quite closely with HeyU. So we fully integrate with HeyU, and we've worked with Ritual as well. So we can totally integrate. Essentially, the bare bones of it is it's a modifier. And I think swap systems and order ahead is just works so well because it's the only way that you can truly order ahead with your reusable. because typically you have to wait for that reusable cup to be returned before a cafe can make the drink, but not with Husky Swap. So yeah, the short answer is we completely integrate with Hey You, and we have done with Ritual as well.
Great. All right. Another one from Adriano about the lid.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about changing the lid? Customers talk about having to suck the coffee and not drinking naturally.
Sure. Okay. I think, you know, it can be difficult when you design a product because it suits some people and it doesn't suit others. We've designed the top of the lip where you sip from. It's quite high, deliberately so it feels a bit more like you're drinking from a dining cup and not from a grown-up sippy cup. So that's why it was done that way. And if you're drinking something like batch brew or a long black, it actually pools slightly, which makes it a little bit easier to drink. The holes themselves that you're talking about, they're not just steam vents. They actually dictate the flow rate of the coffee. So we designed that to flow optimally, but of course it's not going to be suited to everybody. The lid is universal. We are always tweaking the design, and we have some potential new lid features coming out, but not that I have any timelines on that. But no new lid coming out in the next few months at least.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for that, Michael.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There was just one other question there in the chat about, is it Counter? Is that another order ahead app? Has anyone else heard of that one? Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Are you guys in that one too?
It depends on the involvement with the order ahead. So something like Hey You, we can really integrate with, and we can add some much extra features. That order ahead, typically for Husky Swap, you just need to add it as a modifier. For example, extra hot or 2 sugars, because then it comes through on the docket. So actually the bare integration you need is to add Husky Swap as a modifier, which most cafes can do themselves on their side, or they usually have like a support email they can just email through and ask for it to be added. And then, as I said, it either pops up on the digital screen or gets printed on the docket.
Cool. It sounds like you guys have thought of everything. All right. Thanks for that again, Michael. So over now to Katie from RETURNR. So Katie is a passionate reuser and environmentalist. And through her efforts, she caught the attention of RETURNR and became a foundation member of their tight-knit and nimble team. Katie brings years of project coordination and sales experience to the team from her background in corporate and architectural sales. She was really happy to shift gears to a role that could create a positive change after seeing the impact of fast furniture as an interior designer. And you can certainly see her design skills have come in handy at RETURNR, and she certainly looks happier, enabling a tangible change in the community for the better. Over to you, Katie.
So much, Alicia, and thank you for having us tonight. So we are RETURNR, and we hail from Melbourne. Our team consists of ex-cafe owners who inherently have an understanding of what it takes to make a product that performs not only for you, but for your customer as well. Our products can be found in every state of Australia, but funnily enough, except Adelaide. Don't know what's going on there. Our products and systems can also be found in the US, Ireland, Canada, and Germany as well, just to name a few. Our team consists of proven behaviour changes. So Keep Cup was the original reusable cup designed and purpose-built for coffee on the go, but it relied on customers remembering their cup and can't perform in what we call behind the curtain in scenarios, so drive-through, order ahead. So hence RETURNR was born. Thanks, Alicia. So RETURNR exists to prevent the production, consumption and landfill associated with single-use packaging. Lest I understand tonight we're talking specifically on cups. RETURNR's focus is far broader than that. Our big, hairy, audacious goal is to wipe out all single-use packaging. Bowls, burger packaging, cups, while reducing your packaging costs as well as a business. The versatility of our range is really what sets us apart. And we inherently believe that reusable products, be cups or bowls, need to outperform single use. So that's a key focus of our business. An example of that, thanks Alicia, is the twin wall vessels that we produce. What makes the twin wall insulation so fantastic? Well, it actually enables you to maybe potentially expand your delivery radius. So for instance, one of our customers uses, in fact, we've got a few customers that use our canister, you can see on the screen, for ice cream. And it's been tested to hold temperature for 20 to 24 minutes, which far outperforms, cardboard or plastic. So stainless steel is one of the few materials that also doesn't take on odours or stains. So whilst RETURNR does cups, we do coffee cups, we do cups also for milkshakes, for smoothies, for kombucha, for tea, or any other liquid that you, beer even, any other liquid that you can think of. And the versatility of our range also makes it suitable for your order ahead apps. So you can add it to Deliveroo. We've got an agreement with Deliveroo that they will not put on their margins or they take their commission from any RETURNR product. We've even got customers that have put RETURNR onto their Uber menu, basically just as a modifier. The portion control markings make it really easy to communicate to your customer that they're getting what they're paid for. So whilst a RETURNR product might not be an exact match to a single-use product, the versatility, the portion control markings make it really easy to translate that. Thanks, Alicia. So you can target more of your menu with RETURNR items, and here you can see, just a really brief, quick view of the menu items that you can take out with the RETURNR range. Thanks, Alicia. The other unique thing about RETURNR and the products that we provide is the lids. We've got reusable lids that have been designed as a retail add-on. So customers that really love using RETURNR, and there's many of them out there, they can purchase their own lid for reuse. And I think particularly now with being in a post-COVID world, there is a psychology around sharing lids. And whilst you and I know it's no different to washing it in the, it being a fork being washed in a commercial dishwasher, there is that psychology that people don't want to share lids. So people can own their own and they don't have to share. The other option is to take a card lid. And when I say card, it's a bagasse lid, which is sugarcane waste. So it's purely sugarcane waste, steamed and formed. So using the least amount of virgin materials as possible. And it also just makes the management of the RETURNR fleet that much easier. If you pop onto the next slide, you'll see the versatility of the range, the ice cream, Vietnamese. We also encourage our customers to go lidless. If you don't need a lid, don't take a lid. And I think the image in the bottom corner there, the sushi, is a really great example of a case where you might not need a lid. Certainly wouldn't send it out on Uber like that, but for a walk-in customer, no lid makes a lot of sense. So how does it work for your customer? Well, our main comm is that it's free to borrow. It just requires a $6 deposit, which is the mechanism that keeps our products moving around and keeps people accountable. So when we say free to borrow, it is free to borrow. If when the customer returns it, they get their $6 back, but it's not free to keep. So if the customer chooses to keep that RETURNR item, it's cost them $6. We keep it really simple. There's no apps, there's no scanning, there's no personal details. And forgive me, this slide was put together maybe pre-COVID, we probably wouldn't refill a customer's returner if they walk back into store, but swap it out for a fresh one. Thanks, Alicia. So how does it work for your business? Well, because it's really simple. We take a $5 deposit from you for every returner that you take, and you push those out to your customer for $6. So there's a $1 gap in the deposit there. And the reason that we've done that is because we don't make any money on the returner products themselves. That's just simply our cost of goods. And at any point in time, just like your customers can return the products to you, you can return the products to us. So you might return them to us if you're overstocked, if your menu changes through the seasons. So we ask for first payment upfront, and we charge a monthly fee of $48 a month. It's only the first order that we ask for upfront. Thereafter, we bill everything at the end of the month with 7-day terms. So most of our partners have turned all the products that they've taken into cash by the time they need to pay us. So whilst it does seem like a more expensive option, it actually works out better. And if you flick to the next slide, this is a really good example of a 8-week view of a high volume customer that's implemented returner. They took a bowl only, and in the first 8 weeks they had 2,500 reuses. They only took 490 bowls and only issued 42 refunds. So when you consider the packaging savings cost, when you consider that all the products, if they were to be returned, they've got the cost covered there. Return is a really great option. So thank you for your time. We'd love to talk to you guys. If Returner has sparked an interest, if you'd like to wipe out single-use packaging, not just coffee cups, we'd love to talk to you.
Great, thank you, Katie. Yeah, I loved all those stats there at the end. That's really amazing. We actually also, we put a question in our expression of interest, and we've already had about 15 cafes sign up already. And one of the questions was about containers. Yeah, and about 90% of them are actually interested in containers for the future. So it's great to see that the people who are applying for our Swap Cup EOI are actually thinking about the future and thinking about containers. So that'll be great to have that in there. Just in relation to that, I was just wondering if with the flat fee that you have, the partner fee that you have, if a business adds any more items like the canisters or anything that you bring out into the future, does that fee go up, or is that a flat fee?
No, it is a flat fee. We'll never. We may increase it one day, but we absolutely have no plans to increase it as we add to our product range. So, I mean, in the coming weeks, we are adding version 2 of the bowl. We are adding clear see-through lids, which will make the products perfect for grab and go. We're also adding smaller canisters, and that partner fee will always stay the same.
A question that came through in the chat, and that was just about the Deliveroo. What the question was, what's the deal with Deliveroo?
What's the deal with Deliveroo? Deliveroo, they're really fantastic. They've been thinking about ways of limiting their waste for a long, long time. So they have agreed that they will refund their commission taken on any order. So if you've got a salad, you add a modifier as a returner, you won't pay that commission on that product with Deliveroo. They will deliver the bowl. They do require your customer to come and bring that bowl back in to receive their refund. And at the moment, it's probably a really great way to get the customer back into store.
Awesome. Yeah, they come back to get that $6 back. So that's good. And then they probably place another
more
order
products.
anyway. Great. We also had another question come in about containers for, it's a sushi venue that's written this through. And actually, I really love the sushi canister image there. That was really novel use of that container. But do you have any plans to bring out a container specific, like a bento box?
Look, if we weren't recording this tonight, I probably could have shown you guys some prototypes that we've been working on that we're close to bringing to fruition. So, like I said, we are looking at a huge range of packaging to wipe out, and sushi is certainly one of those items that we really want to conquer. So stay tuned.
Watch this space. Yes, awesome. And another final question that came through in the chat was, are the lids disposable?
The card lids, yes. They, as I said, they're made of bagasse, so they can be home composted, they can be commercially composted, they can be recycled if they're not too heavily soiled. The reusable lids are obviously not disposable.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Katie. I think that covers everything about RETURNR for our local cafes, and I hope that they consider that in the EOI.
Thank you so much.
Stephen couldn't make it tonight, but Sasha's still going to do his bio anyway, and we're going to show a video. So,
yeah, thanks, Katie. That was awesome. Love stainless steel. Yeah, so Stephen has been in the hospitality/cafe industry for 20 years, and it was just a few years back that he calculated that he'd produced over 2 million coffees in his time as a barista, and he was just starting to think about the impact that has in the environment, and then war on waste came up. So, and he said that really drove home the point that there was a lot of scope and that this really needed to be worked on. So going beyond cafes merely selling the reusable cups, he really wanted to put in action a different system that just concentrated on getting rid of these disposable cups. He recently started a new cafe in Chatswood that has no reusable cups and instead has his own clay cups as a primary cup system, as well as the swap and go clay cups as well. He says that he accidentally discovered that being environmentally aware isn't just good for the planet, but it's great for the hip pocket. So Stephen feels that he has saved a heap of money through adopting reused coffee cup system. And Stephen, with clay cups, his company has put together a great video. So we might get that rolling if you can, Alicia.
After 20 years of working in the cafe industry, I've observed that we are just out of control with our waste. Australian coffee culture is one of the best in the world, but one thing we haven't addressed is the environmental impact of our industry. It was always part of my vision was to create a reusable cup that was also durable enough that could be swapped and reused in a cafe environment to replace paper cups. We've designed clay cups so that they will interact with the coffee machine and the baristas just as a paper cup would, but without the waste. They will fit in cup holders of cars, they will fit in coffee trays, and most of all, they're familiar to people, so it's not such a great leap for people to use them. So Cup Bank basically works it's a deposit scheme. So the customer will come in, they'll order their first coffee and pay a deposit of $8.50 to the cafe. That deposit is redeemable at any time with the safe return of the clay cup. It's up to the cafe owner. I like to incentivize by offering a free coffee. The customer basically will walk away with the coffee. Once they've finished it, they'll return the cup. And ideally what they do is they return the cup and then swap it for a new cup. Bucket will be taken to a cleaning area where they'll be disinfected, sterilised and washed. And then put through a commercial grade dishwasher, which is essential to ensure sterilisation. And it stops landfill. It stops the issue of consumption, which is very destructive to our planet. It's also, from a capitalist point of view, very cost effective. Currently operating at around 10 to 12 shops at the moment. We have obviously taken a bit of a hit during COVID with all the fear that's around, but we have got some really good cup bank customers. But basically, we need to start thinking about the environment in every aspect of our lives. It's a critical time. Our futures literally depend on it right now. And I'd like to ask everyone to get behind it. If it's not clay cups, swap and go, make it another swap and go, or just bring your own reusable coffee cup.
Love that video. You can see Stephen's really passionate about what he does. Yeah, we don't have Stephen with us tonight, but he'd love you to send through any questions that you've got. So yeah, just send them through after or pop them in the chat, and we'll make sure that you have your questions answered.